Hi there, my name is Oli Knight. I'm here with Harrington Stark, Future Alpha in New York 2026. I'm here with Dhiraj from Nuvama. Here to talk about a few different things. I think Indian kind of trading landscape in general, how that's changed over the last decade, and then looking forward with businesses like Nuvama, how we can kind of operate with these sorts of new market conditions in mind. I suppose with that said, it'd be interesting to set the stage for the audience. You've been in the equity derivative space specifically for a long time now, I think. Be interested how you view that landscape within India changing, but then also even outside of equity derivatives, maybe looking at wider trading volume in general.
Right. So I think if you look at the Indian markets over the last decade, it's changed quite a bit. If you look at the option side, that volume has exploded in the last 5 to 7 years. You've seen a whole flux of these HFTs, props, and quant firms coming into India. One of the main reasons is India primarily is still a lot of retail-driven market. So if you look at the overall volumes, close to about 40% is still dominated by the retail guys, and the rest is by institutions and by domestic guys. So if you look at one, of course, the cash volumes have also gone up because India is growing, the economy is growing, the interest is growing. So you've seen the cash volume also grow up. But if you were to look at the chart of the options volume, that is where the explosion has happened. So I mean, if you look at the volumes today, they are somewhere in the range of about $60 million a day. That's the notional volume that happens on the option side. So yeah, that's the general makeup of the market that has changed over the last 5 to 7 years.
And what do you see as being the core driving factors in that increased volume? Is it just a natural event that's taken place, or are there real driving factors that we can identify?
So a couple of factors, a couple of things have changed. One, of course, the India markets in itself has grown. If you look at the economy, we were like about 10 years ago, we were the 11th largest economy. We've now moved on to the 4th largest economy. So that has also added in terms of the volumes. Like I said, the retail participation has gone up significantly in the last 5 years, especially after the COVID lockdown. That's when I think the real trigger happened, and that's when the real retail participation started to happen in the option space. So that's the second trigger for the markets. And then sensing all of this, on the other side, we've seen a lot of algorithm-driven guys coming and taking advantage, or coming and probably trading the India markets against these guys. So that has all led to kind of an explosion in the entire space in India in the market.
Yeah. And with that explosion, there's come a lot of interest from, shall we say, Western kind of institutional trade firms, prop firms, HFT firms, whatever you like. Is there one particular, perhaps, misconception or perhaps inherent kind of idiosyncrasy within the Indian markets that sometimes these firms from outside stumble across and stumble into?
I mean, one of the things that's there in people's mind is that it's very difficult to get into the India markets, right? India markets are different in the sense, what European or American markets are. Indian markets require you to get an ID for yourself. That is where Nuvama comes in. We help you get that ID, which is basically the FPI ID. So that is a notion in everybody's mind that India is very difficult. It takes about 6 to 8 months just to get your ID, and then another 3 to 4 months to set up your entire India trading infrastructure. Right. And that is where we break that notion, because we do the ID for you in about 2 to 3 months time at max, and then you are all good to trade the India markets. So yeah, that is one thing that people really have a wrong notion about India.
Yes.
And then also some of the people have this notion where they believe that the regulations in India change quite a bit, which is again not entirely true. It does change depending on how the markets are being perceived, or what the regulators want to perceive the markets to be. So it changes according to that, but I mean, it doesn't change overnight. That's one of the wrong notion that people have.
Right. Okay. Very interesting. And with that in mind, how is Nuvama positioned to help businesses look at trading India? You kind of touched on it there, but be interested to hear how the capability extends.
Sure. So like I said, where everybody else still takes about 6 to 8 months to onboard a client in India, we do that in about 2 months' time.
Right.
The whole HFT, the quant space, the prop space in India, we know this space, we've been in the space, we've been a market leader, we've been in the space long before anybody else was there. So anybody who wants to be co-located, anybody who wants to get their servers in, set up everything at India, we know that space, right? So we will help people get that done in a quicker time. And also there are other efficiencies that comes along with Nuvama, which are primarily your operational efficiency, cost efficiencies, as compared to some of these larger global banks that provide the same thing for India. So that is again where Nuvama scores kind of higher than what these guys do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think taking it back to the Indian market in general, there's obviously been a lot of hype and kind of media stories about really, I think, about the opportunity in the Indian markets to make money and that sort of thing. How do you view that as being someone that's been a participant in this game for a long period, not the kind of recent media cycles?
Yeah.
And how do you view the future kind of with that recent noise kind of in mind?
Sure. So see, the opportunity is there for all the players, right? So if you look at the compounded returns that India has given for the past 5 to 10 years, it easily beats any returns by any European or American markets. So you have an opportunity for, say, the long only guys, right, who want to be invested, do not look at the stocks for, say, the next 2-3 quarters. So there's opportunity for them. There is opportunity for the regular fundamental, hedge funds, long short guys. And then, of course, the newer breed in India where, they're making money is the whole HFT and the prop that we've already spoken about.
Yes.
So again, there is opportunity for them as well. So, and plus what the regulators have done is increasingly they've kind of lightened the whole regulation in India. So it's becoming more and more easy for any firm that wants to trade India. The entire cycle of them setting up India has significantly reduced, and the regulator is still looking to kind of bring that down further so that you do not have to wait months to get your license.
Yeah.
So if you put all of that, one, there is of course opportunity that's there in India market, and then on the other side you have regulator who's basically pushing these regulations through so that people can access the markets in a much efficient manner.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Well, that's all very interesting. My only other question is just with the event in mind, it's obviously quite early on day one. Yeah. Any particular topics or themes or speakers that you're particularly interested in? I know you're doing your own thing, so kind of interested how you're viewing the days ahead.
So I think there are a couple of things that are really interesting. I was at one of the earlier thing where they were talking about in volatile markets like these, how do you structure your portfolio as a portfolio manager? How do you do that? That was a very interesting thing. There is one more at 4:30 today. That's one of the interesting one that I'm looking at. It's basically on the entire risk management again, with all the negative news that's going around, or the volatility that's going around today. So that's one of the more event I'm looking at.
Feels like an interesting time in terms of there's so much negative press.
It is, yeah.
But there is opportunity.
Of course, there is.
And that feels like the kind of common denominator
Yep.
of this event. It's great to have you on.